It's probably more common than you think that your favorite movie or TV show might have started as a novel, and the film lineup for 2022 is no exception. I've put together a list of 13 novels turned movies to look forward to this year. And if you're looking for a good read, try one of the books on this list while you're waiting for the film. Along for the Ride is one of 4 Sarah Dessen books planned to be adapted by Netflix. This story follows Auden, who, the summer before college, meets the mysterious Eli, a fellow insomniac. While the seaside town of Colby sleeps, the two embark on a nightly quest to help Auden experience the fun, carefree teen life she never knew she wanted. The film is premiering on Netflix April 22nd and is directed by Sofia Alvarez, who also adapted To All the Boys I've Loved Before. The film stars Emma Passero as Auden, Belmont Camili as Eli. They will also be joined by Kate Bosworth and Andie MacDowell, to name a few. Number 2. The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight. Hadley and Oliver begin to fall for each other on their flight from New York to London. The probability of ever finding each other again seems impossible, but love and London may have a way of defying the odds. The book is written by Jennifer E. Smith, who also has 2 other popular books being adapted for the screen. The film reportedly shot in London in 2021, but doesn't have a release date as of now. The film stars Haley Lou Richardson, Ben Hardy, and Sally Phillips. And if you're like me, you're probably wondering, what is the probability of falling in love at first sight anyway? Well, nearly 35% of people claim that they've experienced love at first sight. Crazy. Mr. Malcolm's List is a book turned short film turned feature film. The short film came out in 2019. The story introduces an arrogant bachelor who has a list of requirements that a woman must meet to be his perfect wife. The story takes place in the 1800s in England and follows a young woman who's enlisted by a scorned friend. This friend was previously rejected by the bachelor for not meeting his requirements. The goal of these 2 ladies? Revenge, with plans to ultimately break the bachelor's heart in the end. The short film ended with a to be continued and can be watched right now on YouTube. If you're looking for that blockbuster, action-packed thriller this summer, then look no further than Bullet Train. This Japanese adaptation follows 5 assassins aboard a fast-moving bullet train. Each assassin finds out that their missions all have something in common. The cast of this Sony film is a bit star-studded and includes Brad Pitt, Sandra Bullock, and Joey King, to name a few, and is set to release July 15th, 2022. Helena, a woman living a seemingly ordinary life with her husband and young daughter, is actually hiding a dark secret within. Helena is forced to face her demons when her father, the infamous Marsh King, escapes from prison unexpectedly. Knowing that he will hunt for her and her family, Helena must find the strength to confront her past and the man she once idolized. Salem's Lot. This popular story by Stephen King has been adapted for the screen a time or 2. The story follows Ben Mears, a writer who spent part of his childhood in Jerusalem's Lot, Maine, also known as Salem's Lot. He has returned after 25 years to write a book about the long-abandoned Marston house, where he had a bad experience as a child. He soon discovers that an ancient evil has also come to town and is turning the residents into vampires. This new 2020 remake is expected in September, and according to IMDb writer Gary Bowerman, his goal was that this film would make vampires scary again. Sorry, Twilight. Psychological thriller Luckiest Girl Alive follows Ani, a sharp-tongued New Yorker who appears to have it all: a sought-after position at a glossy magazine, a killer wardrobe, and a dream Nantucket wedding on the horizon. Ani is forced to confront a dark truth that threatens to unravel her meticulously crafted life. The film stars Mila Kunis as Ani, and the book and screenplay were written by Jessica Knoll. Filming for the movie wrapped up September 2021 and is expected to release on Netflix this year. Judy Blume and her books have filled the shelves of many young readers over her decades-long career as a writer, and her popular title, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, is soon to be on the big screen. The book and film are comedic dramas that follow Margaret Simon, who is just 11 when her family moves from New York City to Farmbrook, New Jersey. Margaret's mother is Christian and her father is Jewish, and Margaret has been raised without an affiliation to either faith, although she frequently prays prays to God in her own words, beginning with, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." The film, produced by Lionsgate, is scheduled to release September 16th and stars Rachel McAdams as Margaret's mother, Kathy Bates as her grandmother Sylvia, and Abby Ryder-Forston as Margaret. The School for Good and Evil. Sophie had waited her entire life to be kidnapped by the schoolmaster and taken away to train to be a fairy tale superhero at the School for Good and Evil. Her friend, Agatha, who is unpopular for being considered a witch, is not ready to give up her only friend and must stop Sophie from going, which results as her friend going as well. As the two get whisked away into the deathly secretive world of fairy tales, they find that their fortunes are reversed. The cast features Charlize Theron, Ben Kingsley, Lawrence Fishburne, Kerry Washington, and many more. The movie filmed in Northern Ireland and is set to release on Netflix in 2022. Killers of the Flower Moon is an Apple Studios production based on David Grant's best-selling novel. This true crime story is set in 1920s Oklahoma and depicts the serial murder of members of the oil-wealthy Osage Nation. This string of brutal crimes came to be known as the Reign of Terror and sparked a major investigation from the newly formed FBI. The film is directed by Martin Scorsese and will star some of the best working actors today, including Jesse Plemons, Leonardo DiCaprio, Lily Gladstone, Brendan Fraser, and Robert De Niro. Production wrapped last fall and is expected to release in 2022. The Pale Blue Eye. At West Point Academy in 1830, an apparent suicide. Although not unheard of in a harsh regime like West Point's, but the next morning an even greater horror comes to light. Someone has stolen into the room where the body lay and removed the heart. This Netflix horror mystery stars Christian Bale, Lucy Boynton, and Harry Melling playing Edgar Allan Poe. Where the Crawdads Sing. If there's one book you plan to read this year and one movie that you should keep on your radar, it's this one. The book, which released in 2018, was written by Dahlia Owens, and the film is being produced by Reese Witherspoon's production company, Hello Sunshine. This coming-of-age story takes place in a quiet coastal town in the 1960s. It follows Kaya, an orphan growing up in the marshlands of North Carolina who gets blamed for the death of a popular local. The film is set to release July 15th and stars Daisy Edgar Jones as Kaya. Persuasion. Another Jane Austen adaptation, Persuasion was Austen's last complete novel in 1817. This Netflix retelling will star Dakota Johnson as Anne Elliot, a 27-year-old unmarried woman who reconnects with Captain Frederick Wentworth, played by Cosmo Jarvis, a dashing and now wealthy Navy officer whose marriage proposal she was forced to turn down 8 years before. You may have heard of a little story called Peter Pan, and even though this story has been remade many times since the book's release in 1904, there will be a new remake done by Disney Plus in 2022 called Peter Pan and Wendy. It's the same story of the darling siblings' trip to Neverland, but with a new star-packed cast. Ever Gabo Anderson will play Wendy, Alexander Maloney makes his debut as Peter Pan, and Jude Law is Captain Hook, as well as Jim Gaffigan playing Smee. This is only a partial list of all the books being made into films this year, but it's a great place to start if you're looking for some new entertainment coming in 2022. And if you're more of a television buff, check out my other video linked below highlighting all of the books being made into TV series in 2022.